The hyperspace breach illuminated the darkness above Earth like a silent explosion of crystalline light. Massive gravitational distortions rippled through the solar system's outer regions, triggering automated monitoring systems across multiple international and private space observation platforms. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, chief scientist at the Global Space Monitoring Center, watched in stunned silence as the alien vessel materialized. Its design defied every conventional understanding of spacecraft engineering. A living, geometric marvel that seemed to shimmer between solid matter and pure energy. The vessel's hull appeared to be composed of interlocking crystalline structures that absorbed and redirected light in impossible patterns. Captain Vornak of the Zarkov exploratory fleet studied the blue-green planet before him with centuries of calculated precision. His species had cataloged thousands of civilizations across multiple galactic sectors, and humans represented just another potential entry in their comprehensive database of intelligent life. Initial sensor sweeps confirmed what seemed obvious: a pre-interstellar civilization confined to a single planetary system. Primitive communication networks, rudimentary energy production, and compartmentalized technological development suggested a species still struggling to overcome its own planetary limitations. But something was different about this world. Vornak's secondary analysis revealed unexpected complexity. The planet's communication networks displayed a level of interconnectedness that defied their initial assessment. Multiple languages, diverse cultural systems, and intricate information exchanges suggested a deeper underlying intelligence that their standard classification models couldn't easily categorize. "Preliminary scan complete," announced his primary science officer, a veteran of countless exploratory missions. "Standard classification. Emerging Type I civilization. Recommended approach. Standard observation and potential resource assessment." Vornak's sensory tendrils, biological appendages that processed information far beyond human visual perception, traced the planet's orbital patterns. Scattered across the planetary surface were signals that told a more nuanced story. Research stations in Antarctica communicated with laboratories in Japan. Astronomical observatories in Chile exchanged data with research centers in India. Quantum computing facilities in California shared millisecond-level communications with artificial intelligence research centers in Europe. This was not a primitive world. This was a complex, interconnected ecosystem of knowledge and technological potential. The monitoring systems aboard the Zarkov vessel began comprehensive scans. They detected multiple layers of technological sophistication that seemed to contradict their initial assessment. Quantum communication networks, experimental fusion research, advanced medical nanotechnology, artificial intelligence systems that operated with increasing autonomy. Beneath the apparent chaos of human civilization, a profound organizational intelligence was emerging. Vornak made a decision that would later be remembered as a turning point in galactic history. Instead of preparing a standard reconnaissance report, he ordered a comprehensive cultural and technological analysis. Something about this planet demanded a more nuanced approach. Little did the Zarkov know that humanity was already aware of their presence. A network of advanced satellites, originally designed for Earth observation and military monitoring, had detected the hyperspace disturbance within seconds of the alien vessel's arrival. At the United Nations Emergency Space Communication Center, a diverse team of scientists, diplomats, and military strategists began their own preparations. They understood that first contact was no longer a theoretical scenario. It was happening in real time. Dr. Rodriguez's fingers danced across holographic interfaces, coordinating global response protocols developed over decades of speculative preparation. Multiple communication channels activated simultaneously, diplomatic, scientific, and defensive systems coming online with practiced efficiency. The universe was about to witness something unprecedented. A species that had long anticipated the possibility of extraterrestrial contact was now face to face with that reality. First contact was never going to be simple, but for humanity, it would be an opportunity, a chance to demonstrate that intelligence comes in many forms, and that potential cannot be measured by traditional metrics of technological advancement. The United Nations Special Extraterrestrial Response Committee convened within hours of the alien vessel's arrival. Gathered in a secure underground facility beneath Geneva, representatives from every continent brought together the most diverse collection of human expertise ever assembled. Dr. Rodriguez stood at the center of a holographic display, her presentation cutting through the tension in the room. "We cannot approach this as a conventional military threat," she explained, her voice calm but resolute. "Our strength lies in our adaptability, our collective intelligence, and our capacity for innovative problem-solving." The military representatives shifted uncomfortably. Generals and admirals from various nations had spent decades preparing defensive strategies against potential extraterrestrial threats. Their first instinct was confrontation, but the data presented suggested a different approach. A retired chess grandmaster from Russia leaned forward, his weathered hands clasped together. "Every conflict is a form of communication," he said quietly, "and we have an opportunity to communicate in a language they do not yet understand." The proposal was audacious. Instead of a military response, humanity would challenge the Zarkov to a series of complex trials. These would not be simple combat simulations, but intricate tests of problem-solving, creativity, adaptability, and collective intelligence. Meanwhile, aboard the Zarkov vessel, Captain Vornak received the formal communication from Earth. The message was carefully constructed, a diplomatic invitation that was simultaneously a challenge and an opportunity for mutual understanding. The trials would encompass multiple domains: cognitive problem-solving, complex scenarios requiring innovative thinking, technological adaptation, challenges that test rapid technological innovation, cultural intelligence, scenarios exploring emotional and social complexity, collaborative strategy, tests of collective decision-making, resource management, simulations of complex systemic challenges, ethical reasoning, scenarios exploring moral and philosophical dilemmas. Each domain was carefully designed to showcase human potential in ways the Zarkov could not anticipate. The selection process for human participants became a global event, with millions watching as the most brilliant minds from every field were brought together. A quantum computing expert from India discussed the challenge with a behavioral psychologist from Brazil. "We're not just solving problems," she explained. "We're demonstrating how diverse perspectives create unique solutions." The Zarkov communication systems buzzed with internal debates. Captain Vornak's decision to accept the challenge was met with mixed reactions. Some saw it as a potential opportunity to conclusively demonstrate their species' superiority. Others viewed it as an unnecessary risk to their established galactic reputation. "Humans have introduced an element of unpredictability," Vornak told his senior officers. "Our historical database shows no precedent for this approach to first contact. Every other species we've encountered has either submitted or been systematically neutralized." The global selection process became a testament to human potential. Universities, research centers, and government agencies worldwide began identifying candidates. The criteria went far beyond traditional measures of intelligence. They sought individuals who could think laterally, adapt quickly, and collaborate seamlessly. A young engineer from Kenya, who had developed innovative water purification systems for drought-stricken regions, found herself in a preparatory workshop alongside a theoretical physicist from Canada and a social innovation expert from Australia. Their collective thinking would become a microcosm of humanity's greatest strength. As the final team was assembled, the world watched with a mixture of hope and anxiety. This was more than a diplomatic mission or a military exercise. This was humanity's first true opportunity to define itself on a galactic stage. Captain Vornak received the final list of human participants. Each file represented a complex individual, not a soldier, but a problem solver, a creator, an innovator. The trials would begin soon, and nothing would be the same again. The universe was about to learn that humanity's true power was not in its weapons, but in its capacity to imagine, to adapt, and to transform. The first trial chamber was a marvel of international engineering. Located in a secure facility nestled between the Swiss Alps and Lake Geneva, the space defied traditional design. Adaptive walls shifted and reconfigured themselves, creating an environment that could transform instantaneously to present new challenges. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched from the observation deck as the selected human team entered. 12 individuals from 12 different cultural and professional backgrounds, each chosen for their extraordinary ability to think beyond conventional boundaries. Captain Vornak and his senior officers observed through a complex holographic interface, their alien sensory apparatus processing information in wavelengths humans could never comprehend. They expected a straightforward test of linear problem-solving. What they would witness was anything but linear. The first challenge appeared deceptively simple. A complex three-dimensional puzzle materialized in the center of the room. To the Zarkoth observers, it seemed like a standard spatial reasoning test. Most species they had encountered would approach it methodically, attempting to solve the puzzle through sequential logic. The human team did something entirely unexpected. Marcus Chen, a computational linguist from Singapore, began discussing the puzzle's structure using musical metaphors. Alongside him, Dr. Amara Okonkwo, a Nigerian neurobiologist, started analyzing the puzzle's geometric patterns through the lens of cellular communication. A former chess grandmaster from Russia started mapping potential solution paths as if the puzzle were a complex strategic game. They weren't solving the puzzle individually. They were exploring it collectively. The Zarkoth communication network buzzed with confusion. Their advanced translation systems struggled to capture the rapid, non-linear communication between the human team members. They were speaking multiple languages simultaneously: verbal, mathematical, metaphorical, and something that seemed to exist between traditional forms of communication. Within minutes, the team had not only solved the initial puzzle, but had developed 3 alternative solution methodologies that the puzzle's designers had never anticipated. Each approach revealed a different layer of potential understanding. "They're not solving the problem," mumbled one of Vornak's senior scientific officers. "They're deconstructing the entire concept of the problem itself." The next challenge arrived. A complex scenario that simulated a critical resource management situation under extreme environmental stress. Previous species had typically approached such challenges with rigid, hierarchical decision-making processes. The human team transformed the scenario into a collaborative ecosystem of problem-solving. Elena Rodriguez noticed how each team member brought a unique perspective. The environmental engineer from Chile analyzed resource distribution patterns. The quantum computing specialist from India developed predictive models that considered multiple simultaneous variables. The social psychologist from Brazil mapped potential human behavioral responses. They weren't just solving the problem. They were reimagining what a solution could look like. Captain Vornak leaned forward, his sensory tendrils vibrating with an emotion closest to human curiosity. In centuries of galactic exploration, the Zarkoth had encountered countless intelligent species, but none had demonstrated this level of cognitive flexibility. The trial continued, each challenge more complex than the last. Scenarios that would break most species became opportunities for collective creativity. The humans didn't just adapt to the challenges, they transformed them. A breakthrough moment came during a scenario that tested ethical decision-making under extreme pressure. Where most species would follow predetermined protocols, the human team engaged in a dynamic dialogue that explored multiple ethical frameworks simultaneously. They weren't seeking the single correct answer. They were expanding the very definition of correctness. The Zarkoth observation team became increasingly agitated. Their comprehensive database of intelligent species behavioral patterns was being systematically dismantled. Humans were introducing variables that their advanced predictive models could not calculate. As the first set of trials concluded, something profound became clear. This was not just a test of intelligence. This was a demonstration of humanity's most extraordinary capability, the ability to collectively reimagine possibilities. Captain Vornak made a decision that would change everything. These humans were not just another species to be cataloged. They were something entirely new. The universe was about to be surprised. The second phase of trials transformed the testing facility into a living canvas of human diversity. Where the previous challenges had explored cognitive capabilities, this round would dive deep into the rich tapestry of human cultural intelligence. Captain Vornak observed with increasing perplexity. The Zarkov had encountered countless species in their galactic explorations, but none had demonstrated such profound internal complexity. Humanity appeared not as a unified entity, but as a dynamic, living ecosystem of ideas, traditions, and perspectives. The first cultural challenge seemed simple on the surface. Teams would need to collaborate on solving a complex global challenge: sustainable resource management for a hypothetical colony facing extreme environmental constraints. A team emerged that defied every conventional understanding of collaboration. A community organizer from Brazil stood beside a climate scientist from Canada. An indigenous leader from New Zealand conversed with an urban planner from South Korea. A renewable energy expert from Kenya shared insights with a social economist from India. Their approach was nothing like the hierarchical problem-solving the Zarkov expected. Where other species would create rigid plans with clear chains of command, this human team developed a fluid, adaptive strategy. They didn't just share information. They created a living dialogue that transformed their collective understanding with each passing moment. The Brazilian community organizer introduced concepts of collaborative decision-making, learned from indigenous community structures. The New Zealand indigenous leader brought traditional ecological knowledge that provided insights into sustainable resource management. The Kenyan energy expert shared innovative approaches developed in regions with limited infrastructure. Each perspective became a crucial piece of a complex puzzle. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched from the observation deck, her heart swelling with pride. This was humanity's true strength, not technological might, but the ability to find unity in diversity. The Zarkov communication networks struggled to process what they were witnessing. Their translation systems captured words, but missed the intricate layers of cultural nuance, the unspoken understandings, the complex emotional intelligence that flowed between team members. They are not solving a problem. One of Vornak's scientific officers reported, they are creating an entirely new way of understanding the problem. The next challenge pushed cultural intelligence even further. A complex scenario that required the team to navigate a simulated first contact situation with a hypothetical alien civilization. The parameters were deliberately ambiguous, designed to test adaptive communication and empathy. Where most species would approach such a scenario with predetermined protocols, the human team engaged in a dynamic, multilayer dialogue. They didn't just consider communication strategies. They explored philosophical, emotional, and ethical dimensions of interspecies understanding. A linguist from Egypt began mapping potential communication approaches. A diplomatic historian from Russia analyzed historical first contact scenarios. A psychological researcher from Australia explored potential emotional responses. A quantum communication specialist from Japan developed innovative translation methodologies. Their collaboration was a living, breathing entity, constantly shifting, adapting, growing. Captain Vornak found himself transfixed. The human team wasn't just solving the challenge, they were reimagining the entire concept of problem-solving. Each team member brought a unique perspective that both challenged and enriched the collective approach. The final cultural challenge pushed boundaries even further. Teams had to develop a comprehensive plan for long-term human survival that balanced technological innovation with ecological preservation, social equity, and cultural diversity. Their solution was nothing short of revolutionary. They didn't just create a survival plan. They developed a holistic approach to existence that considered multiple perspectives simultaneously. Technological innovation was balanced with ecological understanding. Economic strategies were developed with social equity as a core principle. Progress was viewed through a lens of collective well-being. As the trials concluded, something profound became clear. Humanity's greatest strength was not any single capability, but its capacity to find strength in difference. To transform diversity from a potential source of conflict into a powerful tool of collective intelligence, Captain Vornak made a decision that would change everything. These humans were not just another species to be understood. They were a living demonstration of potential beyond anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. The universe was about to be transformed. The technology trials represented humanity's most ambitious challenge yet. A massive testing facility emerged from the Swiss mountainside, a marvel of engineering that could reconfigure itself instantaneously, creating environments that would push the boundaries of technological innovation. Captain Vornak observed with growing unease. The Zarkov had perfected technological development over millennia, creating systems so advanced they seemed almost organic. They expected humans to demonstrate linear technological progress. Instead, they'd witnessed something entirely unprecedented. The first challenge involved rapid technological adaptation. A complex system would be introduced with deliberate flaws and limitations. The human team's task was simple yet impossible. Transform the system into something functional and innovative using minimal resources. Where other species would approach such a challenge with systematic, hierarchical problem-solving, the humans created a collaborative technological ecosystem. A quantum computing specialist from India began analyzing the system's core architecture. Beside her, a robotics engineer from Brazil started mapping potential structural modifications. A materials scientist from South Africa explored unconventional resource alternatives. A software developer from Canada began developing adaptive algorithms that could fundamentally reshape the system's functionality. They didn't just solve the problem. They reimagined what a solution could look like. Within hours, they had not only repaired the original system, but had developed 3 alternative technologies that expanded its potential capabilities exponentially. Each solution incorporated insights from multiple scientific disciplines, cultural perspectives, and innovative thinking. The Zarkov observation team became increasingly agitated. Their comprehensive technological databases began to show critical gaps. The humans were introducing variables that defied their most advanced predictive models. The next challenge pushed technological innovation even further. Teams received a collection of seemingly unrelated technological components, consumer electronics, industrial equipment, experimental prototypes. Their task was to create a cohesive system that could solve a complex global challenge. Where most species would approach this methodically, sorting and categorizing components, the human team saw potential connections that defied conventional understanding. A marine biologist from Australia saw potential ecological monitoring capabilities in discarded smartphone sensors. An urban planner from Japan recognized how obsolete industrial components could be repurposed for sustainable infrastructure. A renewable energy specialist from Kenya transformed what appeared to be electronic waste into a potential power generation system. Their approach was less about individual genius and more about collective imagination. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched from the observation deck, her heart racing. This was humanity's true technological strength, not advanced systems, but the ability to see potential where others saw limitations. Captain Vornak found himself experiencing an emotion closest to human wonder. The humans weren't just solving technological challenges. They were demonstrating a fundamental reimagining of technological potential. The final technological trial pushed boundaries beyond recognition. Teams received a series of complex global challenges: climate change mitigation, sustainable energy production, advanced medical research. They would need to develop comprehensive technological solutions that balanced innovation with ecological and social considerations. Their solution was nothing short of revolutionary. They didn't just create technological fixes. They developed holistic systems that considered multiple interconnected variables. Technological innovation was balanced with ecological understanding. Energy production systems incorporated social equity considerations. Medical research frameworks prioritized global accessibility. A breakthrough moment came when the team developed a modular technological framework that could be easily adapted to different environmental and cultural contexts. It wasn't a single solution, but a living, adaptive technological ecosystem. The Zarkov communication network struggled to process what they were witnessing. Their understanding of technological development was based on millennia of linear progress. The humans were introducing a fundamentally different approach: technology as a collaborative, adaptive process. As the technological trials concluded, something profound became clear. Humanity's greatest technological strength was not any single innovation, but its capacity to see potential connections, to transform limitations into opportunities. Captain Vornak made a decision that would change everything. These humans were not just another technologically developing species. They were living demonstrations of technological potential beyond anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. The universe was about to be transformed. Global communication networks hummed with an unprecedented energy. Every trial, every moment of the human Zarkov challenge was being broadcast across multiple platforms, transforming a diplomatic encounter into a planetary event that transcended traditional boundaries of information sharing. The psychological dimension of the challenge had begun. Captain Vornak realized too late that the humans were fighting a war of perception long before any physical confrontation could occur. Their strategy extended far beyond the immediate trials. They were reshaping the narrative of first contact in real time. Interview clips began streaming across galactic communication channels. A young environmental researcher from Brazil discussed collaborative problem-solving with infectious enthusiasm. A quantum physicist from India explained complex scientific concepts using metaphors that made advanced theories accessible. A community leader from New Zealand shared indigenous perspectives on collective intelligence that challenged fundamental assumptions about technological progress. Each narrative was carefully crafted, yet appeared entirely spontaneous. The Zarkov observation team watched in growing confusion. Their communication protocols were designed for systematic information transfer. The humans were creating something entirely different, a living, breathing narrative that evolved with each shared perspective. Dr. Elena Rodriguez understood the deeper strategy. This wasn't just about winning trials. This was about demonstrating humanity's most powerful resource, its capacity for collective storytelling. Interviews with trial participants revealed something profound. These were not just individual experts. They were representatives of a global collective intelligence. Each story challenged the Zarkov's preconceived notions about hierarchy, individual achievement, and species-level potential. A software engineer from Kenya spoke about community-driven technological innovation. A marine biologist from Australia connected ecological research to broader social understanding. A diplomatic historian from Russia explored the complex dynamics of interspecies communication. Their narratives were weapons more powerful than any technological system. Captain Vornak received increasingly concerned communications from his homeworld. The carefully constructed mythology of Zarkov invincibility was unraveling with each broadcast. Centuries of galactic reputation were being systematically dismantled by something they could not comprehend. The psychological trials pushed this strategy to its ultimate expression. Teams were challenged to develop communication strategies that could bridge fundamental differences between intelligent species. But this was no mere academic exercise. Humans approached the challenge as a collaborative art form. Linguists worked alongside musicians to explore communication beyond verbal language. Psychologists collaborated with visual artists to map emotional communication strategies. Anthropologists partnered with quantum physicists to explore the nature of perception and understanding. Their solutions transcended traditional communication models. They developed multi-layered communication frameworks that considered emotional intelligence, cultural context, and collaborative potential. Each approach was simultaneously a scientific method and a creative expression. The Zarkov communication network struggled to process the complexity. Their translation systems captured words but missed the intricate layers of nuance, the unspoken understandings that flowed between human team members. A breakthrough moment came when the team developed a communication protocol that could adapt in real time. It wasn't just a translation system. It was a living, evolving framework for mutual understanding. Dr. Rodriguez watched with a mixture of pride and wonder. This was humanity's true strength, the ability to transform potential conflict into an opportunity for collective growth. As the psychological trials concluded, something profound became clear. Humanity's greatest power was not in its ability to fight, but in its capacity to understand, to connect, to reimagine potential. Captain Vornak made a decision that would change everything. These humans were not just another species to be studied. They were living demonstrations of communication as a transformative force. The communication broadcasts continued, each moment revealing layers of human potential that defied conventional understanding. The Zarkoth watched, their centuries of galactic experience being systematically challenged. The universe was about to learn that true communication was not about transmitting information, but about creating understanding. And humanity was rewriting the rules. The final trial arrived with an intensity that seemed to pause the entire planet. A massive testing facility emerged from beneath the Swiss mountains, a structure that defied conventional understanding of architectural and technological possibility. Captain Vornak understood this was more than a simple competition. This was a fundamental examination of intelligent species potential. The challenge before the human team appeared deceptively simple. They would need to develop a comprehensive solution to a multidimensional problem that integrated scientific innovation, ecological sustainability, social equity, and interspecies cooperation. The parameters were deliberately complex, designed to test the absolute limits of collective intelligence. Where previous trials had explored specific domains, this final challenge demanded a holistic approach that would synthesize every aspect of human potential. A team of 12 individuals gathered, each representing a different discipline, cultural background, and approach to problem-solving. A climate scientist from Canada stood beside a social economist from Brazil. A quantum physicist from India conversed with an indigenous environmental leader from New Zealand. A renewable energy expert from Kenya collaborated with an urban planning specialist from South Korea. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched from the observation deck, her breath caught in her throat. This was humanity's ultimate test. The Zarkoth observation team prepared their most advanced analytical systems. They expected a linear approach to problem-solving. What they would witness would fundamentally challenge everything they understood about intelligent species. The team didn't just approach the challenge. They transformed it. Initial data analysis revealed the complexity of the problem. Multiple interconnected global challenges, climate change, resource scarcity, social inequality, technological limitations, created a web of complications that would overwhelm most species. The human team saw something entirely different. Where others would see insurmountable obstacles, they saw a complex, interconnected system of potential solutions. Their approach was nothing like the hierarchical problem-solving the Zarkoth expected. Instead of dividing the challenge into discrete components, they created a living, adaptive framework that could evolve in real time. The quantum physicists began developing predictive models that could map potential future scenarios. The indigenous environmental leader introduced traditional ecological knowledge that provided insights into sustainable resource management. The renewable energy expert shared innovative approaches developed in regions with limited infrastructure. Each perspective became a crucial piece of a complex puzzle. They didn't just develop a solution. They created a comprehensive framework for collective survival and growth that considered multiple interconnected variables simultaneously. Technological innovation was balanced with ecological understanding. Economic strategies incorporated social equity considerations. Potential solutions were developed with adaptability as a core principle. A breakthrough moment came when the team developed a modular framework that could be adapted to different environmental and cultural contexts. It wasn't a single solution, but a living, adaptive approach to collective challenges. Captain Vornak found himself experiencing an emotion closest to human wonder. The humans were demonstrating a fundamental reimagining of problem-solving potential. The Zarkov communication network struggled to process what they were witnessing. Their understanding of intelligent species was based on millennia of hierarchical linear thinking. The humans were introducing a fundamentally different approach: collaboration as a dynamic, evolving process of collective intelligence. As the final trial concluded, something profound became clear. Humanity's greatest strength was not any single capability, but its capacity to find potential connections, to transform limitations into opportunities, to see complexity as a source of strength, rather than a challenge to be overcome. The solution they developed was nothing short of revolutionary: a comprehensive framework for collective survival that balanced technological innovation, ecological preservation, social equity, and interspecies cooperation. Captain Vornak made a decision that would change everything. These humans were not just another species to be understood. They were living demonstrations of collective potential beyond anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. The universe watched in collective anticipation. Humanity had just rewritten the rules of what was possible. The aftermath transforms galactic perspectives. Other spacefaring civilizations realize that humanity represents a fundamentally different approach to existence, one that values continuous learning, collaboration, and adaptive thinking. Captain Vornak, in an unexpected twist, becomes an ambassador of interspecies understanding. The Zarkov begin a profound cultural transformation, learning from humanity's approach to challenge, innovation, and collective growth. The universe discovers a new truth. True strength emerges from the ability to learn, adapt, and evolve together. Humanity: curious, innovative, unstoppable.